Good evening, everyone. As you're coming in, thank you so much for joining us. We are starting our webinar tonight. Tonight is our Community College and Career Opportunities webinar, and we're so excited to have you join us. We have quite a crew and a lot of information to share. So I'm hopeful that you'll get a lot out of this information. And please tell your friends to check the recordings that we'll talk about in a minute so they can access the information if they weren't able to yet. So as you all know, if you've joined us before, tonight's event is one of our webinars, which is part of our fall virtual webinar series. I'm here in San Diego Union High School District. We dedicate this time and space for primarily our juniors and seniors who are really looking at the college planning process, our seniors who are in the thick of the college planning process, and our juniors who are preparing for it, and their families, of course. So everything you see on the screen is a part of the webinar series. Tonight's session, of course, focuses on community college opportunities and career programs, highlighting our MiraCosta College, which is our service area community college and a partner that we value very much. We work a lot with MiraCosta. And a lot of our students attend MiraCosta for different reasons. So we're going to go through that information tonight. And after tonight, we do have one more webinar to close out the whole series, and that's on December 4th. It is our financial aid night. So this we intentionally wait until after December because the FAFSA will open December 1st, and we'll give a few days for the kinks and the confusion to go away, and then we will be able to present all the accurate information to you all on December 4th. So the link to join the financial aid night is on the flyer that is posted here so that you'll be able to see on our presentation, also on our website. And I believe all of our high schools have shared this out already. So hopefully you've already gotten access to this. And that, again, that's December 4th at 5 o'clock. But for tonight's webinar, we are recording this so that you will all be able to access it again and show students or friends or revisit it yourself. We also invite you to ask questions throughout our presentation using the Q&A link on the bottom of the screen. Because this is a webinar format, we can't have live conversation, but we will certainly be waiting for your questions on Q&A. And then as the webinar progresses and more questions come about, we will collect the most common questions and use those in a live Q&A at the end of the webinar. Next slide. And we're excited to introduce all of our presenters tonight. I think this is our largest crew, and each one of us has a special little nugget of knowledge for you tonight in a special area to present on. So I welcome all of our presenters. The first one that I'm excited to share is Gabby B. Love. She is the program manager of outreach at MiraCosta College. We work with Gabby very closely. She's at all of our high schools all the time. Everyone knows and loves Gabby, so thank you for being here, Gabby. Amy Pimentel is the Career Education Pathway Coordinator. Amy and I speak literally daily, and we work a lot together with a lot of our early college credit courses that we'll talk about tonight. Shayla Turk is the SAS Counselor, Student Accessibility Services, and she has so much information and knowledge for support programs offered at MiraCosta. She also presented last year at our college night, so some of you may have seen her live and in person, but we're so thankful to have Shayla here. And Chris Ng, who I've known for quite a while. Chris is the Community Education and Workforce Development Lead at MiraCosta TCI. So he will talk to us tonight about that special and unique program. And then we're also excited to have Christine Berrigan, counselor at Canyon Crest Academy. She will co-present with me in the beginning to kind of frame the conversation for our presenters. Sarah Okleshin, who's our TOSA of Inclusion, Intervention, and Outreach, and she's my partner in crime for these webinars. Thank you for being here, Sarah. And then myself, Jamie Cambra. I'm a counselor on special assignment for college and career readiness for the entire San Diego Union High School District. And I get to be with each of you during these webinars in the fall. It's one of my favorite times of year. So thank you again for joining us. So to kick off the conversation, Christine's going to speak about just the concept of attending community college from the perspective of a high school student and a high school counselor, why our students are attending community colleges, what opportunities they have, and what our students are currently feeling and going through in this process. So Christine, take it away.
Okay, thanks, Jamie. As Jamie said, so I'm Christine Berrigan. I am one of the counselors at Canyon Crest Academy. And so I'm just going to review a little bit about some of the community college options for students while they are in high school and then what they can transition to after high school. So during high school, one of the options is students can currently enroll in courses. So that means they can take community college classes outside of their school day. And that can be for different reasons. Maybe they want to take a class that's not offered at their high school. So it could be like an extra math class, or maybe if there's a particular foreign language class that isn't offered, or maybe it's just like a hobby or something that they're interested in, or a class that they'd like to take. But that would be outside of the school day. So it might be online, it could be in the evenings or on the weekends, but anything outside of the typical high school day. They could also take career education courses. Each of the four high schools has a CTE, or career technical education program, and each of the schools offers a different pathway. So, for instance, at CCA, we have 8 different pathways that range from business to computer science, and everything kind of in between. So, each of the campuses has their own pathway. So, students can take some of those career education classes through the CTE program. And some of those classes can be articulated, meaning that students can earn college credit while taking the high school course. I think Jamie will go through that a little bit more in detail later, of kind of identifying what would be a articulated course versus concurrent enrollment, or dual enrollment. But so that is an option for students. Each college, or I'm sorry, each high school campus also has a MiraCosta College ambassador that typically is there one day a week for a few hours a day. I know at CCA, I think we have Thursdays for a few hours during student lunch, and then some time afterwards. And that can be really helpful for students to have a person that they can go to and ask all of their questions. The ambassadors can help students register at MiraCosta College. They can help them with the classes, the application. If they have any questions, if they can't find their Surf ID, or if they have questions about the different programs that are offered, certificate programs, or the tag or transfer programs, the ambassadors are there to help your students walk through everything. So I found it to be really, really helpful for our students. Um, Another option is early college credit courses. So again, these are courses that are taken in high school, but students can earn college credit as well. So there are a few different options. Like I mentioned earlier, there's the articulation, there is dual enrollment. Again, there's concurrent enrollment. So they're all pretty nuanced. All of the high school campuses have a CTE tab on their websites, and that typically will kind of walk you through the information about the different types of courses that are offered, and some of the language and understanding behind which one offers credit, and how to apply for that. And again, I think Jamie will go through some of that a little bit later. But so there's a lot of different options for students while they're in high school. And then post high school, of course, they can enroll in a community college, either part-time or full-time. They just have to be 18 years old or have completed high school. And there are a lot of different programs. There are, 6-month, 9-month, 1 year plus certificate programs. There are AA degrees. MiraCosta offers a 4-year degree, and then also transfer opportunities. A lot of our students take advantage of that, and it's a wonderful opportunity, especially with how competitive it has become for 4-year universities. If your student has their heart set on a college that maybe they are not admitted to, or if they know ahead of time that it won't be likely that they will be admitted into a particular college if they're not meeting all of the requirements, they could go to a community college and transfer to that 4-year university. And MiraCosta offers different transfer programs, the TAG program, which works with the UCs. So again, if your student's heart set on a UC and may not be admitted directly out of a 4-year out of high school into that 4-year university, then a transfer option could be a wonderful program for them.
Okay, thank you, Christine. Next slide. So we're going to just briefly look at, like Christine mentioned, our district offers quite a few CTE pathways, and a lot of these are aligned intentionally with MiraCosta programs in their career education department. So we wanted to just highlight a few of these just for you, so you're aware looking ahead as you're planning for courses that you may want to take in any of the realms Christine talked about. So architectural design is offered at SDA. Artificial intelligence will be offered at all of our schools. And that's a new program at MiraCosta as well. And we have a class called machine learning that focuses in that area. Auto technology is a huge connection between our auto program and the MiraCosta program. Business management is probably our largest CTE pathway, and a lot of those courses, most of them all align with the MiraCosta Business Department, and our students earn college credit in high school for those classes. Biotechnology is a class that CCA offers. That's what I'm especially excited about. It's new this year. Actually, it was new last year. It's new this year as a dual enrollment class, and it is a perfect example of what CTE is. It is an industry need. It is local in Sorrento Valley for our families that live in CCA, that will go to CCA and live near Sorrento Valley. And the students can access the biotechnology career through a certificate, through a 2-year program, through a 4-year program. They could continue on to graduate school. So there's so many entry points in that for a career focus. Child development is offered at LCC. Computer science is offered at all of our high schools. Digital art and graphic design is offered at all of our high schools, and professional theater is also offered at LCC throughout the CTE pathways. And here we're showing you just, it's a very, very long list that we have on our website. And I just gave you a screenshot here. And when you look at the presentation, if you click on it, you can see the whole list. But this is a comprehensive list of every class we offer that aligns with the MiraCosta class, either through articulation credit or dual enrollment credit. And what Christine was saying earlier is true, that a lot of our classes have an articulation agreement, which is credit by exam, where the high school course exam is the same as is vetted by the community college course. So there's an alignment, and the students have the option of earning college credit in high school if they earn an A or a B in that class and on that exam. There's also dual enrollment, which is a complete college course offered during the school day on our high school campus, taught by our teachers who are vetted and they're MiraCosta adjunct faculty members. And that is 100% of the class is the college course taught on the high school campus. So we have 27 articulation agreement classes and 8 dual enrollment. And I will say the dual enrollment is certainly growing, and articulation is remaining steady, if not growing as well. So these are great opportunities. If you have any questions about these, please check this presentation. There's a lot of information online, but you can also check with your high school counselor. And it's really important to think about that before course selection, which usually happens in January, for those of you who are not seniors. Okay, and now I'm excited to hand it off to Gabby. And she's going to talk about, in general, all things MiraCosta that I think is a great way to kick off this information. So thanks for being here, Gabby.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Gabby B. Love, and I'm the outreach coordinator for MiraCosta College. And I work alongside the student ambassadors. These are student workers who we hire, who are attending our college, and they filled out the section that said federal work study during their FAFSA. And so we have the opportunity to train our students to be able to go out to the high schools and out into the community to talk about MiraCosta. And they are the best at it because they're the ones who are accessing the services and the programs. And they are best to be able to talk about all these wonderful things that we are providing them as students. And then also they get first dibs on a lot of these things, which is great. And so currently we have 21 student ambassadors who also provide outreach out in college fairs and everything, but also tours of our campuses. And our student ambassadors are trained to be able to assist your students and during application workshops to be able to to make sure that students are filling out the forms correctly, because we want to make sure that students are getting access to all the financial aid that's available, and also there is no delay in getting them priority for registration. Next. So we have 4 locations, MiraCosta. We have 2 credit programs. One is here at San Elijo campus off of Manchester. And then we have our Oceanside campus, which is off of College Boulevard and Bernard. That's where our credit classes are. So if your student's trying to achieve a certificate, a 2-year program, or transfer to university, those are the main campuses that they'll be attending. We also have the Community Learning Center, and that's where we have our community education courses courses, and we also have our adult education programs for any student, individual or community member who is wanting to complete their GED or high school diploma. Then finally, we have our TCI, which is our Technology Career Institute and Small Business Development Center. And this is an opportunity for students who just want to enter the workforce right after high school. We all know that it's really important for our students to gain something more than just a high school diploma in order to be able to have a viable income to be able to provide for themselves and their family. So we're trying to make sure that we access all these different opportunities for our students. And I think that with all the different programs that are being offered, it really does give any student an opportunity to either, get access to a little bit of a side hustle, or to even do some career exploration to see if that's exactly, the major that they want to go into. So we have a lot of different options, but our two main credit programs would be at our Oceanside campus and our San Elijo. Next. So Proposition MM was passed several years ago before COVID, and we are finally seeing the fruits of our labors for all the work that was done in that campaign. We now have a new San Elijo campus with a couple of new buildings, which the main one being our Student Services building and also our library. Or Learning Commons. And then we have our Community Learning Center, which also we actually have, they did a lot of remodeling there. So there's a lot of new technology and access to new new programs at each of the school sites. And finally, at our Oceanside campus, we now have a new gym, beach volleyball courts. We have a new student service learning welcome center where our students, when they come and try to take care of, any of their business needs, whether it's for financial aid, applying for MiraCosta, student accessibility services, career center, workshops, international, our study abroad program, any of those programs that are there to support students, that's going to be at our student services building, and that's the new one. We just moved in 2 weeks ago. We're still unpacking, but it's a beautiful center. And along with this, we will be opening up in the spring a new biotechnology building and biology building. So your students will have access to some very new technology that's going to make sure that they have, that we provide as many opportunities as possible so that they can gain all the skills necessary to enter their careers. Next. So benefits for attending a community college. Unfortunately, for many years, community colleges have kind of been, kind of looked at as not really a number one priority for potential school. But luckily, there's been a lot of changes that have made it quite the pathway to getting to the school of choice for or university of choice for students. One of the first things is that we have transfer admission guarantees with many of our UCs and Cal State and system schools, and then also it's affordable. We'll discuss a little bit later about the MiraCosta Promise, which for a lot of parents, this might be something that would be something worth considering, where we would cover tuition for the first 2 years. It also is conveniently home, it's convenient by being close to home. Some of our students are they're 18 and they still just need another year under their belt, or maybe even 2, and an opportunity to just kind of get a little bit more focus on what they'd like to study for their major. And they might need that extra time, and being close by and making it affordable it's something that would definitely be very financially savvy for a student. Smaller class sizes, also opportunities to explore careers. And I want to really kind of note that, because when a student is applying from high school to a university, they have to claim their major. And they, yes, they can be undecided, but it is really difficult to be able to change majors. And if it's an impacted program that they want to go into, you know, that university might not, might have to, you know, take away that acceptance because a student went in, let's say, into accounting, but they want to go into nursing now, and that's more of an impacted system or program. So then it would require the student to reapply. So something to consider when students maybe might not have an idea of exactly what they want to study or major in. The career exploration is available to them in the first 2 years, which is general education for any university. So then this would definitely allow students to be able to explore opportunities. Next slide. So MiraCosta Promise. So this is 2 years of free tuition. All the student has to do is apply for the financial for FAFSA or the California Dream Act and maintain 12 units or more per semester. And we will cover the first 4 consecutive semesters of their tuition. So for a lot of for a lot of parents, that might be something that they'd want to consider. So it's more cost effective for them as their students are trying to figure out what they want to study as their career. Next. All right, so we have a new program through the state. It's called the Transfer Success Pathway. And this is where a student is able to claim within their first semester what Cal State University they wish to transfer to. And that's very different than the TAG program. But a student has the first semester to be able to claim which Cal State University they'd like to attend so that they have that guarantee as long as they fulfill the educational program. Now, the next slide will show you the TAG program, which is for our UCs. And we have the majority of them except for UCSD, UCLA, and UC Berkeley. But that does not mean that our students don't have access or opportunities to attend these schools. It just means that there is no main guarantee, but we do have our counselors who set them, our transfer counselors who set them up with an educational plan to make sure that they are top candidates for those universities. So definitely something we want to make sure that your students, if that's what they want to do, transfer to a university after coming to MiraCosta, that they seek an appointment with a transfer counselor so that they can make sure that they are set up with the right educational plan to be able to transfer to whatever university they wish to. Next slide. Okay, well, I thought that we were going to have a slide where it showed, but just so you know, when it comes to transfers, MiraCosta was just named the top #1 transfer community college in Southern California. So, and again, that goes to show that we at MiraCosta work really, really hard to make sure that all our students are top candidates for transferring to any of the universities of their choice. One partnership that I really, really want to address is our partnership with Point Loma Nazarene. And this is a pretty awesome. I wish I had known this, but if your students are considering going into either business administration, child development, computer information tech, criminal justice, or it kind of got blurred there, but nursing for an RN, if those are the choices for your students, and they're considering going to a private school, they'd be able to do 2 years with us at MiraCosta on our campus. And then the second, which would be their junior and senior year, they would still be taking it on our campus, but at a very reduced price. So one, your students wouldn't have to commute. And the professors actually from Point Loma come to our campus and teach the classes. And then 2, instead of paying $42,000 a year for tuition, because it's on our campus, it's closer to at about $8,500 per year. So it really does give an opportunity for a student to, if this is one of the 5 majors that they're considering, where they can actually access a bachelor's degree through MiraCosta and our set to be accepted to Point Loma without having to do a lot of commuting. So that is available to students. And we are one of 15 community colleges of the 215 that are in California that offer a bachelor's program, and ours is in biomanufacturing. So again, this is an opportunity because we are in Biotech Hub. This is a great opportunity for any of our students who are considering going into sciences. And for a 4-year degree, it's about $8,000. Next. And just want to make sure that, yes, we have new buildings, new, furniture and all this technology, but it doesn't help a student if we don't have the right services for them. So we do all we can to make sure that we are provide well-rounded services for our students, including academic counseling, food pantry, tutoring, mental health services. They get 6 sessions per semester for free. We provide student accessibilities, which is if your student has an IEP or a 504, this would be definitely a service that you'd want to have your students access. And if you are active military or dependent, we also have our veteran services on our campus. Next. Sports, we have those as well. So if your students are into soccer, rugby, surf, volleyball, basketball, we have that as well. Next. And I do want to mention this. This is our study abroad program. We are one of the few community colleges that offer study abroad freshman year. That's unheard of at a university, but if you time it right, if your student submits their application to receive their SURF ID, you can start attending the workshops where students can be able to start planning to be able to do a study abroad, whether it's in the spring where they go to Spain, or in this summer coming up, we have Japan and potentially Italy. So there are opportunities. There are a lot of great opportunities for students at our community college. And of course, we'd like you to come to MiraCosta, but any community college offers a lot of different programs. So just make sure students seek out those opportunities. And the application is open as of now. The FAFSA and DREAM Act won't open until December 1st, but we're ready to, help your students out with applying for MiraCosta. And I'll go ahead, this is my information here, Gabby B. Love, and Jonathan Gomez is our program manager, and I'll pass it on over to Amy Pimentel, who will talk to you about our career programs.
Thank you, Gabby. My name is Amy Pimentel, and I'm the Career Education Pathways Coordinator. Gabby touched on some of our fantastic programs and highlighted some of our CE programs. And so I'm going to go over a few here. One thing about career education that, or a few things I want to point out is our faculty have industry experience and partnerships. So our curriculum, what students are learning in the classroom, is tied to exactly what's happening out in industry. So our faculty are meeting with our industry partners, with our employers in the area, asking them what they need, and really building that connection. So our students leave our programs ready to jump into the workforce and can be confident that they have the skills needed to succeed. It's also a place where students come in and upskill and reskill as industry changes. So it's an opportunity as a community college. You may be in a classroom with students who recently graduated, as well as those who have been working for 10, 20 years and are just coming to learn a new skill or to just improve their skills. The other benefit is that we have small classes and also some programs that are in cohort models where you're taking the same classes with the same group of students throughout. And that can be really nice, especially if you're someone who feels like stepping onto a big university that's the size of a small town is a little overwhelming. You really get to know your instructors as well as your peers. Next slide, please. So we have, one of the things I want to point out with career education is that many of our credentials are stackable. So that means you can come in, you can take a class, or maybe you want to earn a certificate. And a certificate or a program is one that has classes that focus on a specific program area. So you're not taking any additional classes. And a degree would be your program area as well as your general education, your math, your English, things like that. If you're interested in a transfer program, like Gabby mentioned earlier, that would be looking at your general education as well as your major preparation. And that's all going to depend on what your goals are. And as I mentioned earlier, you can always come back to us for a class or two. So it really is, if you want to think of it of like a freeway with lots of different on-ramps and off-ramps as you go through your career journey. Next slide, please. So I'm not going to go through each bullet point. What I really want to do with these next few slides is I'm going to highlight some of our programs and that have some examples of how you can stack your learning, because you may want to come and get a certificate and then go work for a while and come back. Or maybe you want to earn a certificate, continue to work, and as you're working for your degree. In this slide, I have linked to under the transfer, you have your transfer center. We have a couple of associate degrees for transfer. And what those are, like with business technology that you're looking at here, we have a business administration for transfer. And what that does is that guarantees the student a spot at a participating college or university. So when you go to transfer, your major is business, there's lower division courses and then there's upper division courses. At the community college, we are providing those lower division courses. And sometimes when a student transfers into a degree or a major area that doesn't have one of these ADTs, they still have to take some of those lower division classes at the bachelor's degree program, which is costing them more. So what these ADTs do is guarantee that you have met all the lower division requirements, and once you start in that bachelor's program, you are in your upper division courses. Our business program is our business program at MiraCosta College. For San Diego, these are huge pathways at your high schools, and we do have these classes at our San Elijo campus, which is also a nice convenient thing for all of you. Some of the hot, high demand areas within business are definitely supply chain management, like think of our toilet paper crises, or the chips for the computers and the cell phones that we've all gone through. And so this is, for folks who are interested in running a business, maybe opening any kind of business. We have a quick startup certificate, social entrepreneurship, and this will take you all the way through transfer. But I want to reiterate what Gabby said, make sure you are meeting with a transfer counselor, because where you want to go and what you want to do is really going to depend on, make your plan really individualized. Next slide, please. Okay, next we have automotive technology. So with our auto program, we have a whole fleet of cars that students get to work on. And one of the areas, of course, that are going to be becoming much more high in demand are, our hybrid electrical vehicles, alternative fuel technician. There's some short-term certificates, meaning that you maybe only need 2 or 3 classes. And we have partnerships with dealerships for our students as well. This is one in where, you're going to just probably finish at MiraCosta with your certificate or your degree and go to work. Or maybe you want to do some business classes because you want to open up your own auto shop. But this would be one where you wouldn't be looking to necessarily transfer. But these are for auto mechanic, service manager, part specialist, all those folks, everyone who likes to do those hands-on things. Next slide, please. So our computer studies and information studies. Oh, look I put studies twice. Proofreading matters, you guys. Okay, so our hot items here, cybersecurity. So we've all, those of us, many of us have had our information, our data breached, right? Our identity stolen. So companies, school districts, hospitals, they're all looking on how to be more secure. So cybersecurity is definitely a hot job area right now, and will be as we become increasingly more dependent on our technology. So our CSIT programs These are for the students who like to the ins and the outs of the computer. So there's classes where you're building a computer, the hardware from pieces, taking it apart, as well as just the systems and like the software operating things, the security. And we also have our new artificial intelligence degree under this program as well. Excuse me. So these are areas that are in high demand. Next slide, please. And then we have our design. So our design is actually our engineering, our architectural design, not our not graphic design. We'll talk about that later. So these are for the students that are looking into architecture, engineering. So folks that want to be drafters, and as you can see, you have a range of certificates as well as degrees. And about half of the people that hold have careers in this field have bachelor's degrees. So if that's a route you want to take, definitely make sure you're visiting our Chancellor Center. I can't say that enough. Next slide, please. This is where we have our graphic design. So this is our media arts and technology. So these are for our graphic designers. We have video and media design, video animation, web design. A lot of our students that complete this program are working on their own, so they're freelancers. But there's careers also and jobs available within the public and private sector working for their companies. Or for schools, hospitals, etc. Next slide, please. So our music technology. So CCA has a music technology program, and we have our music technology program as well. I put a link on this slide for a list of equipment that our program uses and provides because it's really long. So we have fabulous, up-to-date studios. These are for our students that want to do anything from sound engineering or a business agent, doing audiovisual technician work. So we have the turntables and the whole consoles, all of that stuff for everybody to work on, record music, practice. Next slide, please. And I didn't explain, you'll see that a lot of these slides have ACP. So MiraCosta is divided into 6 academic and career programs. So that's why you'll see this is our health sciences ACP. So this is our kinesiology program. We have yoga instructor certificate. So we are one of the few community colleges that have this, which will cost a lot less than, say, taking it through a private studio where they may charge up to $10,000. But it's also a pathway for students who are interested in physical therapy or being an athletic trainer as well, or going into different areas in the health field. Next slide, please. And then next we have our nursing and allied health. So this is for our students who want to be CNAs, LVN, or we have an LVN, the licensed vocational nursing to RN, our registered nursing program, and Gabby highlighted on the RN to BSN program that we have with Point Loma as well. Of course, the nursing is a very high demand program. We do also have our medical assisting program that is a cohort program for those folks that want to do the front office, work in a medical office. As you know, nursing is in high demand. So this is definitely a career that students are going to graduate and have job opportunities right away. Next slide, please. And our biotechnology. So you can see with biomanufacturing, you can start with your certificate, work up with your degree, your associate's degree, which would be what the community college awards. And then we are one of the few community colleges with a bachelor's degree with our biomanufacturing program. This is the biomanufacturing bachelor degree is a cohort program. So you are with the same group of students throughout. And we have biotech companies right in our backyard who our instructors work closely with. And our students are often showing up to internships with better skills with a better skill set, ready to understand things more so than their fellow interns from UC San Diego. And that's one of the things that you really get out of community college and within career education is you're getting that hands-on experience as opposed to just sitting in a lecture hall with 500 other students looking at slides like you're doing now. So you really get that benefit. Next slide, please. Then we have our computer science program, and this is where we have software development, game development. So these are for our folks that want to do, software engineering work, systems analysts who are really on that software side, as opposed to CSIT being like the hardware and some software. For folks who want to design mobile apps as well, this is where you would be looking. And we do have a computer science for transfer degree as well within computer science. Next slide, please. And then we have horticulture. SDA has a wonderful horticulture program, and students can continue along that pathway here. So we have landscape architecture, pest control advisor, sustainable agriculture, which is definitely something that we need, and that is a very high demand area. And it's going to prepare students for landscape design, pest control, working within a nursery. And then lastly, I think this is lastly, we have our child development and education. So this would be our pathway for students that are interested in teaching or even social work or school counseling. And there's various pathways in terms of stopping at an associate's degree and fulfilling just MiraCosta requirements, or continuing on to transfer, like to say CSU San Marcos. You wouldn't really be going to a UC if you want to do education or child development. It would either be straight to a UC or from a community college to a CSU. Next slide, please. And then I do want to highlight, say all of this sounds great. You're like, I want to do all of them, or I don't want to do any of those. One of the first things you want to do is visit our career center. We have career counselors to help you figure out what you're going to do, what you want to do, help guide you with internships and job search assistance, so you can start working and getting that work experience in the field. They help you with your resume and interview preparation. And this is for everybody, regardless of your major. Make sure you are locating our Career Center folks in the New Student Services Center. And I am probably over my time, so I'm going to pass it on to my colleague, Shayla.
Good evening. My name is Shayla Turk. I'm a counselor here in Student Accessibility Services at MiraCosta. I use she series pronouns. A brief image description today. I'm a white woman, brown hair, gray highlights, green eyes, and I have vertical striped shirt on. And I'm very excited to talk to you today about SAS and transition. My goal in this space is to inform you, provide ease, and navigate transition from high school to college. I recognize there's a lot of feelings when we hear the word transition, so we're here to support you. This is our Student Accessibility Services mission statement. I want to focus on the words perseverance, strength, and determination. Too often we start the conversation about disability and how it negatively impacts the individual. It's our focus and our perception. And then I want to challenge you to change it and challenge you to look at and view differences, diversity, and disability differently. Next slide, please. If you don't see your diagnosis of disability or medical condition listed here, please don't worry. This list is not exhaustive. I just encourage you to connect and set up a meeting with a counselor in Student Accessibility Services, and we can discuss your impact and how we can best support you. And I think Gabby mentioned it earlier too, in terms of if you have a 504 or you have an IEP, it doesn't transition automatically over to your next college. You will need to simply go ahead and make an appointment with our office and fill out an application, and then we can connect with you and talk with you about next steps and how we can support you with accommodation in college. In accordance with federal and state law, all post-secondary institutions that receive public funds must provide an opportunity for students with disabilities or medical conditions to request and receive reasonable accommodations. No matter what college, university you go to, you are able to request accommodations. It is not automatic, so you do need to apply for accommodations as a student. Here are just a few accommodations and services that we provide. Some of our most popular accommodations are listed here: exam accommodations, note-taking, recording lectures, alternative media. You can access a full description on our SAS website located in the links provided in this presentation. Not all schools have academic counseling support in disability support offices. Here at MiraCosta, we support the holistic student and offer academic counseling, educational planning, time management, disability management, advocacy, and so much more. We offer a specialized computer lab at the Oceanside location that students can use during office hours, called our High Tech Center. You can come and do schoolwork, you can make prints and copies of things, and if you get stuck or need help with accessing some technology, we do have an assistive technology assistant in that space to help you get unstuck. This fall, we offered Canvas workshops hosted by our assistive technology assistant to help and access this institutional educational software. Next slide, please. I'm going to go over some of the biggest differences between K through 12 and college. A more comprehensive list you can find here that's scrolling right now under a guide to transition, along with a plethora of helpful information and transition tools created by a team of disability support advocates at the community college level here in Southern California. So first and foremost, we kind of touched on it already, but it is the student's responsibility to apply and to request their accommodations every semester if they're desired. Previously, this fell on the institution and the guardian because the student was a child. Now in college, the student's adult, thus they have to, it's their responsibility to request those accommodations. Personal information is protected by FERPA. All enrolled college students' records are only accessible to the student and not to the parents or the guardians. Accommodations may not alter the fundamental nature of the course or impose an undue burden on the institution. For example, students couldn't be authorized for an accommodation for multiple retakes of an exam or quiz unless everyone in the course was allowed to retake the exam or quiz. Otherwise, that would be considered a fundamental alteration of the course. And here listed that on this presentation and kind of on this list above, you're going to see a lot more of those differences, and you can access that through this presentation. Next, I want to talk about eligibility and program application. If you are ready to begin the application process and you're here today and you say, hey, I have a 504, I have an IEP, or I have documentation stating I have anxiety from a licensed healthcare provider, or I have a temporary impact, something's going on for you that you need accommodation, I really encourage you to simply click on the eligibility and program application. It goes directly to our SAS website. You can actually fill on the online application there. Once you complete it, you'll actually receive a phone call from our front office to schedule an appointment with you. Being proactive in this is really important because a lot of students, what we hear is about a week or two into school, oh no, I haven't applied yet. Can I still receive accommodations? Absolutely. You can receive them at any point in time throughout the semester, but applying early is going to ensure that you have that access early on and everything set up. So it's one less thing that you have to do as you transition. And this information is private and cannot be shared outside of SAS. So nothing on your accommodation form will ever have your diagnosis. So in K through 12 on your 504 IEP, that was listed there. In higher ed, that's not going to be the case. So unless you choose to share that information, we legally are not allowed to share that information outside of our office. So it just on your accommodations is simply going to just have that, your accommodation. We request that you provide documentation from a qualified professional verifying a disability or a medical condition so that you can actually attach to the application, or you can simply come to our office and fill it out as well and then provide us that, and we can make a quick copy of it and give it right back to you, whatever you're most comfortable with. We will work with you to set up an initial welcome call through the interactive process where we'll discuss what's worked and didn't work for you in K through 12 and what strengths and barriers that you experienced in the learning environment. Together, we'll determine what accommodations will best support your individual needs. We can also support with scheduling classes and navigating student resources and support services here in MiraCosta. Under student support services, there's just a plethora of resources that Gabby and Amy and many others here have touched on. Next slide, please. Lastly, I wanted to provide a brief overview of our office contact information and locations. We have 3 separate locations and we're able to meet with counselors at any one of these locations. We do not authorize accommodations for TCI. You do want to connect directly with TCI regarding accommodations, but here's Chris to tell you more about TCI.
Awesome. Thank you, Shayla. So good evening, everyone. I know you're digesting a lot of information. I will do my best to be expedient here in giving you an overview of the flavor of education that we offer here at the Tech Career Institute. So we are, as Gabby said, we are one of the 4 campuses of MiraCosta College. We are just about half a mile south of Palomar Airport, so kind of at the southwest corner of Palomar Airport Road and El Camino Real. We offer accelerated hands-on learning, basically, usually certificate-based courses. So we're a distinct operation from the main campuses. For the most part, we're the workforce development arm of the college. So we want to get students in, get them trained in a rather accelerated and intensive way, and then facilitate their entry directly into the workforce. So we treat our campus more like a workspace than we do a traditional campus. Students are spending most of their time in the specific lab that might relate to their course. And I'll get into each individual course and what we teach, but as an overview, all of our courses require 90% in-person attendance. Students have QR codes, which they're badged in and badged out every day, so they're tracked for punctuality. Things like project management and time management are embedded throughout the curriculum. We also do our best to engage with local industry partners who may be hiring. So we do things like have industry come into the classroom to give presentations about their operations. We take students off-site to local employers so they can tour the facility, often seeing TCI alumni in those roles so they can picture themselves in that role. We have both paid and unpaid internships, and basically we're doing our best to smooth the path from classroom to workspace. Next slide, please. So I'm going to give you the real high-level overview. We've got 11 programs. I'm just going to spend about a minute on each of them. You can see the particulars there. But again, in broad strokes, certificate-based programs between 2 and 5 months long, designed for direct entry into the workforce. So these are 3 of our healthcare pathways. Phlebotomy technician, it's our quickest course, 2 months, 3 evenings a week. It's a great pathway into phlebotomy itself or into other pathways in the healthcare setting. There's many pathways in hospitals, in healthcare that don't require a 2 or a 4-year or advanced degree. And so this is a really quick way that students can test the waters if they're interested in anything kind of within the healthcare realm. We also have an emergency medical technician course. You can see there's a couple different course offerings depending on student schedule. This is a great pathway, obviously, to ambulance work, but to other things like fire or police departments, or even heading on into a paramedic course. We also offer a biomedical equipment technician course, which is something that doesn't get a lot of exposure out there in the counseling and education world, but is actually a really steady job. If you think of the average hospital has 40,000 pieces of patient-facing equipment. Could be something rudimentary like the oximeter, a blood pressure monitor, or an infusion pump that delivers IV meds. All of that equipment should hopefully work 100% of the time. And so it's teams of BMETs that troubleshoot, diagnose, repair, and maintain that equipment. So very steady work in a hospital setting, can also be field service tech work. Next slide, please. So under the advanced manufacturing umbrella, which is sort of a broad-based term, but that could be anything from a Qualcomm that's managing or manufacturing microprocessors and components for cell and smartphones. It could be something like MagnaFlow, which is a large Oceanside-based manufacturer of high-end exhaust and custom exhaust systems for cars. So throughout North County, there's kind of a broad section, cross-section of advanced manufacturers, and the classes that we teach are directly related to many of these pathways. So we have a full machine shop here on the campus where students work on manual mills, lathes, and grinders before moving up to automated machines called CNC, computer numerical control machines. So if you're unfamiliar with what a machinist is or a machinist does, chances are if it's metal, a machinist has touched it. That could be something like parts that would go in a car, in a jet. It could be parts that go in a nuclear energy reactor. It could be medical devices like spinal implants or catheters. Even braces, the metal train tracks on our teeth are actually made by a machinist. So we offer 2 courses, one for the neurotypical, which is the one you see up top there. The middle course is called our Uniquely Abled Academy. This is for students on the autism spectrum. So there's a section of machining that's a good fit for students on the autism spectrum. We've run 3 we're in our 3rd cohort now, a very popular program. For the most part, will likely be underwritten by the DOR. And then again, we're doing our best to have job placements at the end of the course. Welding, which almost always is fully enrolled. We have 2 different course offerings. You can see there, one in the evenings and one on Saturdays. Again, a lot of advanced manufacturers throughout North County rely on welders, welding and machining, and other hands-on type skilled trades throughout the last 20, 25 years. The path for everyone was told, was a 4-year college degree. And so there's a lot of machine shops, a lot of this type of work where you can walk into these shops. The average age of their workforce is something like early 50s. So there is a lot of opportunity in local manufacturing for machinists and for welders. Next slide, please. And then skilled trades. So these first 2 are actually 2 newer courses for us. They are both right now funded by a grant from Lowe's. So they're at a very low cost. But both these, in a very short amount of time, give you the entry-level technician skills to either continue on as either an electrician or an HVAC. If you're not familiar with HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration. The refrigeration tends to be a bit of a differentiator because there's other schools and other pathways that offer HVAC but leave out the refrigeration. And if you think of any grocery store, any corner store, convenience store, anyone that's got refrigerated or frozen foods, they need a refrigerator tech that's able to service them. Both of those courses in a relatively short amount of time can be seen as sort of pre-apprenticeship programs where you could use either of those courses to gain access into the union-based apprenticeship programs for either of those trades. We also offer a real estate license program. This is the one and only course that we offer fully online. But there's 3 courses that you need to become a licensed real estate agent through the Department of Real Estate, and we teach you each of those courses so that at the end of the series of 3, you take the test with the DRE and become a licensed real estate agent. So many people, of course, are familiar with residential sales. There's also commercial sales, industrial sales, and leasing. There's property management. We have at our sister campus, the CLC, an affordable housing managed certificate. So there's a whole movement within the industry around affordable housing management, and the real estate license is a good first step on that pathway. Next slide, please. So these are emerging technologies. I would highlight the drone or UAV pilot and technician as probably the most emerging. We're going to see drones become more and more embedded in our lives. Uber Eats is soon to be drone based. All of the major grocery stores, including Amazon, are looking at grocery delivery via drones. Just like a fixed wing aircraft, you need an FAA pilot license to be able to fly a drone. So we teach you the skills not only to get that FAA pilot license, but also we teach you the fundamentals about drone design, about drone repair. And so there's really interesting career paths in this field. Chula Vista Police Department, for example, the first drone squad as a first responder. There's real estate agents are using drones increasingly for their listings. A lot of the local utilities for their utility line transmission inspections are using drones. There's marketing vehicles where local golf courses, local vineyards will hire drones as part of their marketing and outreach. You think of things like fire mapping, sea level rise, those are all easily accessed by drones. And then we have engineering technicians. So for those not familiar with engineering technician, a rule of thumb in California is that for every degreed engineer a company might have, they need somewhere between 5 and 7 engineering technicians. Because when the engineer designs the new part, the new widget, they print off that design, hand it to an engineering technician who is then working hands-on with the materials to be able to build that prototype and then learn how to build it faster, lighter, cheaper, quicker, that sort of thing. So again, connected to advanced manufacturing, this course teaches absolutely everything in the broad spectrum of mechatronics. So electrical, electronic, mechanical, hydraulic, pneumatic. We've got several robotic arms as part of our lab, 3D printers, laser cutters, so prototyping. But a lot of really interesting work in the engineering field through that pathway. Next slide, please. Coming soon, we are hyperlinked to local North County needs. And so we've seen a need in both aquaculture and in aerospace composites. Those courses will be rolling out towards the end of the year or near in the spring. Next slide, please. So we have trained over 2,000 students. There's some statistics about our success rate. Those are some of the industry partners we work with. We have alumni at all of those institutions and really well-established professional relationships with them and about 550 other ones throughout the county and beyond. Next slide, please. A fairly easy application process. You can check this out. I believe the slide decks will be available afterwards. So that QR code will take you directly to our website where you can apply through the website. We do test for both reading and math at about the 10th grade level. But other than that, that's really the only test that you'll receive as an applicant. Next slide, please. So other than hearing me talk about it, the next best thing, and actually even better than me talking about it, is actually coming to the campus and tour so you can see our facilities. So we offer that every Friday at 9. There's no reservation necessary. Just show up. We take whoever is here on about a 45-minute tour of our facility. So with that, I will stop, draw breath, and pass it back to Jamie.
Thank you so much, Chris. Every time you present about TCI, I get so excited and motivated. And I hope anyone listening who's interested in TCI, it goes to visit. It is such a unique program, and we're so lucky we have it so close to us. So like Chris said, it's in Carlsbad, but it is it's a great resource for a lot of our students, and a great opportunity to enter the workforce directly after high school, or even for parents that are interested in going back and getting retrained in a skill and enter the workforce. Something that brings us all together in this group, and I know we're short on time, is our upcoming college and career night. For those of you who are seniors or juniors, obviously seniors, by spring, you'll probably know what you're doing next year, but you may not. And we encourage you to come to MiraCosta. The San Alejo campus is where we host this event. It's a great opportunity to meet with college representatives, career representatives. There's a post-secondary resource fair for our students in moderate to severe special education program. We get to have information sessions. You can see the San Alejo campus that Gabby and Amy spoke about. It's a great opportunity to prepare your journey after high school, whatever that may be. We also have military, we have international campuses, 4-year colleges, 2-year colleges. The transfer program that Gabby spoke about is very strong at MiraCosta, and we encourage you to, next slide please, to look at our resource page once this presentation is shared. All of these links have great resources based on what was presented tonight. So if you have any questions about the San Diego CTE Pathways or Early College Credit, that's linked. The MiraCosta Admissions and Records and Transfer Center is linked. They do a lot of Zooms where you can ask questions right now as a high school student planning to attend MiraCosta and then transfer to a 4-year. The Student Accessibility Services is linked, career education, majors, academic counseling, TCI program, and then of course our college and career night information is linked. And finally, here's all of our contact information. If anyone has any questions about any of the information presented tonight, we invite you to email us. As always, please talk to your high school counselor if you have any questions beyond what we shared tonight. They're always a good first stop, and then they can refer you back to any specific person if you need to dive in deeper. Thank you so much for joining us. We don't have time for Q&A, but if you do have questions that we did not answer, or actually I think we answered all of them, but if you have other questions that come up, please talk to your high school counselor or email one of us. Thank you all so much. A special thank you to Edwin Mendoza for being all the things behind the scenes, and to each of our presenters. I appreciate each of you, and have a great night, everyone. Thank you.